Astute viewers will notice two things. One, that this is not my normal backdrop, and two, that this is a webcam video. Hi, I'm Miles, and welcome to Fridays on Gay Five Ways. This week we're talking about stereotypes, but I have to explain a little bit of what's going on here first. On Monday, the building that George and I live in caught fire, and the fire was on the ground floor. We live on the third floor, however, the ground floor is completely gutted. The apartment directly below ours sustained heavy damage, and our apartment was filled with toxic smoke and soot. Right now our apartment is not habitable, and a structural engineer will be inspecting the building on Monday. Until we get the report from the structural engineer, we don't know how long it'll be before we can move back into our apartment. In the meantime, a friend of George has let us stay in his condo nearby while he's out of town. So that's this lovely backdrop here. On top of that, I'm dealing with a rather severe bout of food poisoning, so that's part of why this video is going up late tonight. So, on to stereotypes. I very proudly proclaim that I am a stereotypical gay male. I think a lot of what the stereotype is applies to me. I've never been into sports. I have always liked the arts. I care about how I look and how other people perceive me, not in that I want to be the epitome of masculinity, but that I want to be perceived as attractive. I guess you could say I'm a little narcissistic, and I own it. I also am attracted exclusively to men. There are a few parts of the stereotype that don't apply to me. For example, I don't have a lisp, and I have a fairly neutral walk. It's not particularly masculine or feminine. However, I really enjoyed dressing in drag when I was little, and it goes back to there are photos of me at the age of 3 dressing up in my mother's clothes, and around that time, I told my mom that I wanted to grow up to be a woman so that I could wear a nightie with pretty yellow roses on it. Now, I am in no way transgender, but I have enjoyed doing drag in the past, although it's something I haven't done since I was a teenager. So I think stereotypes are something that can really cut both ways. And it has largely to do with whether they're being used by people inside of or outside of the community that they apply to. Inside of the community, they can be used for a form of identity to help build groups, help build communities. And outside of the community, they can be used for targeting, persecution, bullying. I mean, I've said it before, but I'll certainly say it again. I faced an awful lot of that when I was younger. Kids started calling me gay in kindergarten, and they started beating me up in the first grade. I know it's a little hard to see in this light, but I have a lump on my forehead right here. And it's because when I was in about the 4th grade or so, some kid threw a tree branch at my head so hard that it knocked me down a hill. But for all the negativity that can be associated with stereotypes, I really do think that they have their place in strengthening group identity. Now, it may be true that stereotypes aren't going to be 100% representative of even a single member of the group, but they can be largely true of most of the people who identify with the stereotype. For me, being able to say that I'm a stereotypical gay male means that it's easier for me to find other people who think like me and who I can have the types of conversations that I feel intellectually satisfying with. I'd say that probably as much of the computer nerd stereotype applies to me as the gay male stereotype applies to me. We have to realize that we live in a world of intersecting identities, and all of us are going to subscribe to multiple labels, and that implies an identification with multiple stereotypes. Probably not entirely with any one of them, but I do think that it's an important part of helping to form self-identity. So in the end, I don't think that stereotypes are necessarily good or bad. I think that the best that we can get from them is to be an underlying support mechanism for labels and for self-identification, And at worst, as I said earlier, they can be used as a tool for persecution. So anyhow, I'm going to get back to convalescing. I hope all of you have a lovely weekend, and Devin, I'll see you on Monday. Bye.